Essay number 2, The Psychology of Daily Routine. Here's something that might shock you. Every genius in history, every master of their craft, every person who achieved something truly extraordinary had one thing in common. And it wasn't talent. It wasn't luck. It wasn't connections. It was routine. I know what you're thinking. Routine sounds boring as hell. It's the opposite of everything we're told makes life worth living. We're supposed to be spontaneous, chase our passions, live in the moment, seek new experiences constantly. But what if I told you that this obsession with novelty is actually what's keeping you miserable? What if the secret to genuine happiness isn't finding more things to do, but getting really, really good at the things you already do? Today we're going to dive deep into why the most successful and fulfilled people on earth swear by routines, and why your brain is literally wired to crave them, even though modern culture tells you they're the enemy of a good life. Let's start with a reality check. When you think of routine, you probably imagine sitting in the same gray cubicle for 8 hours a day, doing the same soul-crushing work until you retire. But that's not what routine actually means. Your routine could be traveling to a different country every month. It could be routinely being unroutine. The point isn't what your routine consists of. The point is that you decide what you want your days to look like, and then you stick to it. Because here's what nobody tells you. Your subconscious mind needs predictability to feel safe. And when your subconscious feels safe, everything else becomes possible. So why does this matter? Why should you care about making your subconscious comfortable? Reason number 1, your habits create your reality. Here's something that will blow your mind. You think your mood comes from your thoughts, from things that happen to you during the day, from external circumstances that knock you off balance. Wrong. Psychologist Robert Thayer discovered that moods are actually created by your habits. How much you sleep, how often you move your body, what you think about, how frequently you think those same thoughts over and over again. It's not one bad thought that ruins your day. It's the pattern of thinking that same thought repeatedly that makes it feel true and valid. Your mood is literally a filter through which you experience your entire life. If your habits are chaotic, your mood will be chaotic. If your mood is chaotic, your life will feel chaotic. But if your habits are intentional and consistent, your mood stabilizes. And when your mood is stable, you actually get to enjoy your life instead of just surviving it. Reason number 2, you need to boss your own brain around. Here's an uncomfortable truth. An untamed mind is a minefield. Without routine, without structure, without some kind of regulation, anything can persuade you into thinking you want something that you actually don't. I want to go out for drinks tonight instead of preparing for that presentation tomorrow. I want to scroll social media instead of working on my project. I want to binge Netflix instead of going to the gym. In the moment, these impulses feel valid. They feel like what you really want, but they're not. They're just your brain looking for the path of least resistance. Learning to craft a routine is learning to let your conscious decisions about what your day will be about guide you, instead of letting every random thought and impulse jerk you around like a puppet. It's the difference between being the CEO of your life and being an intern who gets bossed around by whoever shouts the loudest. Reason number 3, more is not better. We live in a culture obsessed with more experiences, more excitement, more variety, more stimulation. We've been programmed to believe that happiness comes from constantly seeking something new, something different, something else. This is a lie that's making you miserable. Real happiness isn't experiencing more things. It's experiencing what you already have in deeper, richer, more meaningful ways. Think about the best meal you've ever had. It probably wasn't because you tried 17 different restaurants that night. It was because you slowed down, paid attention, and really tasted what was in front of you. The same principle applies to everything else. Happiness isn't how many things you do, it's how well you do them. Reason number 4, routine turns off your panic button. Here's something fascinating about how your brain works. When you're constantly confronting the unknown, Your fight or flight instincts are always activated. You're basically living in a state of low-level panic all the time. This is why change is so exhausting. This is why people who live chaotic lives often feel anxious and overwhelmed. Their nervous system never gets a break. But when you regulate your daily actions, when you create predictable patterns, you deactivate those fear instincts. Your brain stops treating every moment like a potential threat. And here's the beautiful part. When your fear instincts are turned off, you actually have space to enjoy things. You have mental energy available for creativity, for connection, for presence. People who are consistent in their habits experience so much more joy, simply because their brains aren't constantly scanning for danger. Reason number 5, routine gives you superpowers. As a child, routine gave you a feeling of safety. You knew what came next. You knew the rules. You knew you were taken care of. As an adult, routine gives you something even better, a feeling of purpose. When you know what you're supposed to be doing and when you're supposed to be doing it, you stop wasting mental energy on decision fatigue. You stop second-guessing yourself. You stop wondering if you're on the right track. You just do the thing, and in doing the thing consistently, you prove to yourself that you're capable of keeping promises to yourself. You prove that you can be trusted with your own dreams. Reason number 6, routine is self-validation on autopilot. Every time you stick to your routine, you're reaffirming a decision you already made. If you decided you want to write a book, and you commit to writing 3 pages every night, you're not just making progress on the book. You're proving to yourself that you're the kind of person who follows through. You're validating your choice to begin and your ability to finish. This is honestly the healthiest way to feel good about yourself. It's not based on other people's approval or external achievements. It's based on your own integrity. Reason number 7, routine is the gateway drug to flow. You know that feeling when you're so completely absorbed in what you're doing that time disappears? When all your worries dissolve and you're just completely present in the task? That's called flow, and it's basically the holy grail of human experience. Here's the secret. The more you train your body to respond to specific cues, 7 a.m. is when you wake up, 2 p.m. is when you start writing, 9 p.m. is when you wind down, the more easily you slip into flow states. Your brain learns the patterns. It knows what's coming next. And instead of fighting the transition, it starts to anticipate and prepare for deep focus. Routine doesn't kill creativity. It creates the conditions where creativity can thrive. Reason number 8, without routine, fear becomes your boss. When you don't have established patterns, when you're constantly winging it, you teach your brain that fear is an indicator that you're doing the wrong thing. But that's not what fear means. Fear usually means you're very invested in the outcome. It means you care. It means you're about to do something important. A lack of routine is just a breeding ground for procrastination. It gives you gaps and spaces where your subconscious can say, well, you can take a break now, even when you have a deadline looming. But if you're used to working at a specific time, in a specific way, you'll push through the resistance because that's just what you do at that time. The resistance doesn't disappear, but it becomes irrelevant. So here's what I want you to understand. Routine isn't the enemy of a good life. Routine is what makes a good life possible. It's not about becoming a robot. It's about becoming someone who can be counted on, especially by yourself. It's not about killing spontaneity. It's about creating enough stability that when you do choose to be spontaneous, it actually feels special instead of chaotic. The most successful people in history didn't stumble into greatness by accident. They built systems that made greatness inevitable. Your routine is your system. What does yours look like? If this resonated with you, let me know in the comments what one routine you're going to start implementing this week. And if you want more insights about psychology, productivity, and the hidden patterns that shape our lives, make sure to subscribe. Remember, you don't have to choose between structure and freedom. Structure is what gives you the freedom to focus on what actually matters.